Hello, hello, hello. Today is Monday, Fun Day, October 10th, and I'm a little late due to technical difficulties. So I'm going to give everybody extra time to get in. And once we're all in, we can get started. Hit me in those comments and tell me what's going on. All right. So first, I want to say I know that there was a lot of storms going on, and nobody wanted to. Um, I didn't really want to talk about it because it was a sensitive subject, and I was very upset about a lot of the things that I saw that was going on and going wrong with, um, people seeking shelter and failing to do so um, in an appropriate time before the storm came in. And a lot of people was like, well, why aren't those people evacuating? Why aren't they evacuating? I'm like, what is going on? What's going on? And I'm looking, and some of the people said that they could not leave because while they wanted proper shelter from the storm, they couldn't leave because they had furry family members. A lot of people have pets, and they have to be saved too. Now, I'm a pet lover, clearly, because I have this fish tank and I have dogs, two Havanese dogs. And I could not imagine seeking shelter from a storm and leaving the dogs behind. The fish, all right, yeah, you know, they'll make it. Hopefully, it's water, right? They could swim. But the dogs, they're not gonna make it like that. And it's like, how can you leave a loyal family member behind because you're seeking shelter and you know for certain that everything that's going to happen, it will likely kill your dog or your bird or whatever it is. I had a parakeet, and if I still had my parakeet, I would be concerned, like, how is my bird going to make it? We clip his wings, so he can't really fly. He can jump really high, and but he can't fly himself. So it's like you have this is the first time I was upset. It's not the first time, that a storm like this of this magnitude where people had to completely evacuate but didn't have the funds to evacuate and seek proper shelter that's being provided for them. They didn't have any accommodations for their animals, their pets, that's keeping them that's their companion, that's their forever companion, their forever baby. I call it my two having these dogs. One is my son's and one belongs to me. And I call them the forever babies because they're constantly going to need you to help them and provide for them and take care of them, where they're not completely, dependent on you, but there is a codependency there where it's like, man, you got to take care of me. You got to have my back. Just like if you're out and about and the dog barks and you're like, oh, I didn't see that. Or you're at home and someone's at the door and the dog barks and you're like, oh, I didn't hear the bell or whatever. Hey, Sean Anthony. And it's like, thank you for coming, Sean Anthony. Stick around, stick around. So it's like, it was heartbreaking because, people had to make a decision that there should have been accommodations for. And a lot of times, um, people are less concerned about those things that are important to individual people than they are about anything else. And it doesn't seem like, this system that's been created should have excluded the understanding that people are dependent on their animals for love, stress relief. And I'm big about stress relief, but a companionship that's there that they can't get back. And if the animal was to pass, it's like now you have to deal with your losing your home and all the damage that was done from the storms to your home. But you also have a loved one that you have lost because you left it. So it's like the government, everybody, FEMA, whomever it is that's telling everyone to evacuate and seek shelter, don't act like you're unaware of why these people won't seek shelter because you've been doing this for years. You already know there needs to be some accommodations for the people who are you're telling to seek shelter, there needs to be some sort of accommodation for their animals. For example, I'm extremely considerate of others. To I need not be as considerate as I am for what everyone says, but I'm so considerate that I don't mind putting a muzzle on my little Havanese dogs. I don't mind putting little underwear on my dogs with absorbent pads in it so that they cannot pee or poo in the store or in the shopping cart or on the chair if I have the dog on the chair. But I don't put my dogs in the chairs because they don't sit in my chairs in my house. But the point being, I don't mind doing that. So it's great that I'm always given a bit of a grace for my dogs to go anywhere I want to go and wherever I want to be. But a lot of people don't know, that these are options. So if the shelter is saying, well, we can't have pets, you need to have some muzzles on hand. You need to have some dog undies and some pads on hand so you can put this on these animals so that the animals and their owners can seek proper shelter. I just want to put that out there. I hope that goes viral. Share that and make sure other people are aware that, yeah, maybe you should keep a dog muzzle on hand. Maybe you should keep dog underwear on hand with pads so that in the event of an emergency, the dog has an emergency bag. That animal, if it's a bird, make sure you have some extra padding or papers that you can put down in the bird cage so you can take the bird cage with you and put a blanket or something over the bird cage. Make sure you have proper accommodations for your animals. So in the event someone says, well, it's a storm or you have to seek shelter, they won't turn you away because you have everything that you need, that this dog or this animal will not be a problem for anyone. And my heart was just breaking because it's like you can't put all the blame on the government who has been doing this for so many years. They should be flawless at it by now. And you can't really put it on the dog lovers and the dog owners because they simply just don't have the information. So if we all pull together and we say, well, what went wrong this time? What did we learn from this moment? How can we do better? So learn from the failures, and that's how we grow. But I just wanted to say that because I wasn't ignoring the storms and the crisis that we're in. But a lot of times I don't like to speak on it while it's happening because it's like, man, that's a hurtful topic. You don't want to offend people, and you don't want to say something that somebody will say, well, man, that was inconsiderate, that was thoughtless. Why would you say that? So in my opinion, if we all just get like little dog muzzles, it doesn't have to be anything that's going to restrict the dog too much, but just to let everybody that's around the dog understand that this dog will not bite you. Even if your dog doesn't bite, my dogs, except for my dog in particular, she might bite you. She might bite you because she's scared if you come too close to her and she's telling you, get away from me. And she's not going to tell you more than once. I'm just saying. I understand that a lot of dogs, they don't like other people being around them or too close to their circle, and they'll let you know you've come too close, and in that event is really on you, isn't it? So anyway, if you come too close to my dog name is Evie. If you come too close to Evie, she will let you know you're in my space, and that's on you. But a lot of my dogs, they have a harness that come over their body, so and it has cushion in it. So when we put them on a leash, it's not hurting them for them to be on a leash whenever they have to be on a leash. But Evie, she's not on a leash. She's very she follows verbal commands extremely well. And whenever I'm out and about, if I'm at a hotel and I have to be out and about traveling, I'm at the hotel, I'm in the parking lot with my dog, and she is not on a leash. She's going around taking care of her business, and then she comes back, and then we go back. So it's like everybody doesn't have that sort of control and that sort of relationship with their pets. But that's why she also has a harness on and a leash, because I'm not going to say that she's not going to get a little hard-headed sometimes if she sees something she wants. She mad at somebody like, you was in my space, I told you get out my space. Now she going to chase whoever was in her space to let them know you done stepped on my toes, and now I'm going to have to hurt you. So I can't be mad at that. That's what animals do. But I just wanted to say that because I don't like it when people have to seek shelter and they can't because they love and they're loyal to their animals. I'm not saying that you should stick around because your animals can't be where you are, but I am saying that we should be able to have accommodations for that in the system so that when these problems occur, it's not an issue anymore. So um, we're gonna go right into the topic. Okay, I just want everybody knows I love animals, and animals are you know they promote positive spirits because they promote for you to have a positive attitude, clear thinking, and a loving attitude, behavior, and nurturing to you. Having those things is vital to your stress, to your behavior, and the way you react towards things. So, and it gives you someone to love unconditionally because animals are so loyal and devoted and they give you total attention. Okay, so I totally understand a lot of those people not wanting to leave because they didn't want to leave their family member behind. But sometimes you have to make a decision, and I'm so sorry. It breaks my heart for everybody who had to make that hard decision. This world is so full of making hard decisions that it's ridiculous. So we really should try to review these things and create a system that's more catered to fixing the things that we missed the last time, instead of just saying, oh, well, that's enough, that's whatever. And everybody can't have a kennel for their animal, or a cage, or whatever you want to call it, a bag for their animals. Mine, they sit in the purse. They're small enough to be in a purse. So it's like everybody doesn't have that. So you have to have it so that everybody has proper accommodations. And during the peak of the pandemic, my babies didn't go anywhere. I thought to put a mask on them, and I was like, maybe that's overkill, but they can get it too. So I didn't take them to the stores with me anymore. I didn't take them around with me anymore. And that did, I think it hurt them. I could see it in their little eyes. But anyway, today's show, I want to talk about young people. Young people are in training to be an adult. When I was younger, in elementary school, Yolanda was her name. I'm not gonna say her last name, but anyway, she was it? I'm terrible with names. Shateria. I don't know what her name was, but anyway, I forgot. I just see her face so clearly in my mind. And she was like, "Oh, you need to make mistakes. You need to make mistakes." We were in a girls' locker room, and everybody, doing little this and that, and I would not participate because I was raised a particular way. I was raised in church, so there was a whole lot of things I just won't do. And again, that's by choice because I didn't want it to get back out to my mother. If it get out to my mother, my mother believes in corporal punishment. I ain't trying to get my butt whooped, out the blue. Here come this belt. Like, what happened? My mother didn't have to come up to the school talk anything about Tina. Nobody had to say anything bad about Tina because I'm not doing anything. Okay. So anyway, she was like, you got to live your life. You're young. Live your life. But I was in the mindset that, as a kid, what I'm doing is I'm in training to be an adult. So whatever I'm doing now, I'm conditioning myself to do when I am an adult. And if we parents, adults, people who are older, if we tell people, um, you know, you're in training to be an adult from the time you're born until you are actually an adult, um, then that's the kind of mindset that I think will help people to understand why they need to make better decisions with their life and why they need to, um, you know, learn and grow from their mistakes. What did Eddie say? I won't comment on Evie. See, he won't comment on Evie because she doesn't really listen to the guys. She don't really listen to the guys, but she's been trained that she should listen to me no matter what's going on, if she's afraid or whatever. But if she's scared, the guys are not as comforting. And she's like, no, I got to still defend myself. I got to still protect myself. But I'm her person. So she always knows that this is the person that she can feel safe with, secure with. And even a good dog, if they're good with you, it still doesn't mean that that dog is going to be good with anyone else, that your animal is going to be awesome or the way that your animal is with anyone else. I know that, I understand that, and I'm not mad about it. But yeah, I do give like disclaimers whenever Evie has to go out with one of the guys. I'm like, well, so as long as you know, just call me and let me know what's going on, and I'll call her name or whatever. But yeah, sometimes, it's like kids, your kid isn't going to act the way that they would or whatever, if they're with other people like they would with you. So it's to be expected. So I understand what Eddie is saying, and he probably was a little upset with Evie because she don't listen to them, but that's life. But anyway, uh, when children are being taught that they're in training to be an adult from from birth. For example, we tell the babies, oh, you got to go learn to potty, be like mommy, be like daddy, look at daddy go pee pee, look at mommy go pee pee, look at mommy go boo boo, look at daddy go boo boo, you got to sit on the toilet. When you're telling them this, you're in essence, you're telling them in a roundabout way, be this is what I'm training you to do, this is what you're supposed to do. But somewhere between potty training and eating properly, we kind of lose the idea and the concept that you're in training to be independent adult. And it's like somewhere along the lines we need to be more consistent with teaching children that they should be able to understand that this is what you're going to have to condition yourself to do. You're going to have to condition yourself to critically think so that you can make better decisions. So you have to learn what you need to do. For example, dealing with stress, that's something that we are taught as little kids. And no, I did not bring the teddy bear and the owl today, but that's something we're taught as children, to have a tool, have a device, have something that we can hold on to, so that oh, I hold, oh, I hold on to this. But that's that we teach them. In the womb, babies suck their thumb, a lot, especially when they're nervous, when they're scared and things like that. When the mom is nervous, scared, anxious, and things like that, then the baby exhibits those signs when they come out, and they're sucking their thumb all the time for comfort. And a lot of times when people want to get the babies off the sucking of the thumb, what they do is they give the child a teddy bear or something else where they can redirect that energy into that. So we want to make sure that we're always conditioning our children to say, okay, well, you're dealing with this, but it's not in a roundabout way, where we're not directly telling them that this is what this is, so that they can associate these things with what it is clearly, so that they understand, oh, because a lot of times people don't make the connections. So you have to definitely let them know, instead of sucking your thumb, I want you to hold onto this teddy bear and squeeze the teddy bear really, really tight for as long as you need to. Instead of sucking your thumb, keep your arm on the teddy bear, holding the teddy bear as tight as you can, and don't suck your thumb, because if you're sucking your thumb, the teddy bear get jealous, or whatever you want to tell the baby. But definitely let them understand so they can make the connection most clearly. So some people deal with abnormal conditions and behaviors in different environments without escalation. But a lot of times, if we do not make that connection clear, then a lot of people cannot make the connection as to how to de-escalate this problem, how to deal with this abnormality, this abnormal behavior, this abnormal response that someone did when I did XYZ, and they came and they really went overboard with it. How do I de-escalate that instead of continuing to escalate and say, well, okay, I can do better than that. I can outdo you. You want to be messy, I can be messier. You want to be petty, I can be super petty. So we're not really conditioning the kids to understand that, you know, while you're a child, you may get away with that. But as an adult, you starting to be messy, you starting to be petty. They have different accommodations for that, and a lot of times it comes with criminal records that will prevent you from being able to work the way you want, work the way you need, so you can have the sort of lifestyle that you would like to have, that you probably endeavor to have because you're watching videos, music videos, where you're seeing someone living a lavish lifestyle or having a vacation because you see someone else having a vacation. You don't have time to have a vacation when you're struggling to make ends meet. And you're struggling to make ends meet because you have a record. You have something that's making everyone understand that you are a liability, not an asset. So if they're looking at you as though you're an liability, then they're going to say, well, you work really well. You seem to be able to control yourself in a business environment, but you have something on your record that is saying you're risky. I'm making a big risk. Should I hire you? So we need to make sure that we're definitely um, teaching our children to make the connections that we are de-escalating this situation instead of continuing to escalate it, because you have to tell the kids, look, you have to learn how to do this, because this world is not going to automatically de-escalate uh, volatile situations or hostile situations. You have to learn to do that for yourself. And there's one thing that I like about being a little church girl or whatever. Every situation that there is that you'll face in the real world is in that Bible somewhere. And you have to keep studying to show yourself approved. And it's not just in the Bible, it's in a lot of spiritual books that you can read and you can learn that, yeah, the book of Proverbs say, see the BS, across the street and turn the other way. Don't even go around it. And, then there's Confucius, who always has some sort of proverb where he's talking about peace, he's talking about wisdom and expressing wisdom in a proper manner that can keep you out of problems and out of harm's way. So there's various books that you can study and learn and rely on for ways and methods for you to say, okay, this is going to be a problem. I'm going to go the other way. Then there's also the government. You have to know the law. You have to know the rules. And it's so much easier now than it's ever been before, where you can Google and you say, oh, well, if I know I'm a hothead, or if I know I'm around people that's always asking me if I got bail money for them when they, you know what I'm saying? I don't have bail money for anybody because I can't, I just can't associate with that, because there's some place I'm trying to get to. There's some place I want to stay at. There's some place where I just want to dwell at. And having bail money for various people or everybody, I just can't do. Certain people, I got you. But everybody is like always like, oh, I know you got my bail money. I'm like, okay, how close are we? So yeah. So you might examine yourself. And so I'll let you know. I don't know about that. I'm broke because I'm already reserved for something else. So it's like, yeah, I know some people, but I can't know everybody that's gonna need some bail money. So you have to teach people how to deal with things and how to de-escalate things, because you're not rich, and even if you were rich, you're not gonna spend all your money on bail money, okay? So a lot of those people, they're like, well, what's a sign of wealth and prosperity? Well, it's definitely not bail money, okay? I'm just saying, it's definitely not your ability to constantly ask everyone, you got bail money for me? You got bail money? Because I'm about to snap, I'm about to go ham. Calm yourself, relax, take a step back, come back at it when you can deal with it. And if you can't deal with it, don't ever return to it. You got choices, even if they're not being made, presently aware at that moment. You can create your own decisions. You don't have to pick A, B, C, and D. You can create your own choice and options, but just make sure that you're ready to deal with the consequences. But what's the sign of wealth and prosperity? We're teaching kids, the signs of wealth and prosperity is your outfit, your wristwatch, your gym shoes, a car that you sacrifice everything for just to afford the car note, monthly. And it's like, man, you can't, that's not wealth. And just if you have to sacrifice everything to call one thing your own, it's let it be something like a house where you have equity in it that you can borrow from. Let it be an apartment building where again you can rent it out, you can borrow against it, and you can draw wealth from it, not just shelter but wealth. Let it be maybe um, one of those business offices buildings where it's multiple office spaces in there where you can rent or lease those places out. That's wealth. And that's what you want, so you can actually have you know wealth and prosperity. And if you think about all the money you spending on shoes and clothes, and a lot of times those outfits cost so much that people can't afford to have 30 days worth of those outfits. So that they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna wear this. Well, I'm gonna get out of rest. Oh, I didn't have time to do laundry last week because I was busy working. I was busy traveling for work. I was busy taking care of others, and I didn't have time to take care of myself. They don't have time to do those things. So they have several outfits so that they can say, okay, I got enough money to afford all of those outfits and Jimmy Choo shoes. Do Jimmy Choo make shoes? Whatever Jimmy Choo makes. Um, and these red bottom shoes and all of these purses and things like that. You have enough that you could say 30 days, I'm good. I don't have to do laundry for at least 30 days. But if you can't do that, that's that's not exactly where you want to be. You, if that's what you desire to get to, that's great. But the point of the matter is, if you are struggling to do that because you want to wear Versace, and your purse costs $3,000, your shoes cost about $2,000 to $1,000, um, and your hat. Some people like to accessorize, and then it's like by the time you continue to build your outfit, you all the money you're wearing it, and then you want to go to an expensive restaurant and eat, because you need to eat at least 2 times a day, and you going to an expensive restaurant dropping a C note every time you eat because you have exquisite taste. You're like, well, I want to try this steak, and this little, bite-sized piece of steak is going to cost me $100. Then I want to pop bottles, and that's going to cost me about $1,000 per bottle. If you really, if you really got money like that, and you trying to really be out there like that, then you paying for everybody at the table to eat like you. And it's like, because if you invite someone out to eat, you paying for whatever they eating. So now by the time the day is over, you don't have no money in your pocket, you don't have no money in the bank. Those are not signs of prosperity and wealth. That's a sign of struggle and the need for financial management classes. But it's your call, you do you. But these are things that um, signify wealth and prosperity. Then there's your intellectual property. A lot of people do not understand the value of their intellectual property. And I talk about that on this show because that's a main source of stress, because people don't understand that they have to value themselves. A lot of people, it's not just as much about your self-esteem or your self-value or whatever you put on yourself. It is about the fact that you may not feel that what you said was significant enough to warrant the type of money that you should understand that it was worth. Whatever it was that you just said, it was worth $1 million. For example, um, a little bit ago, just outside of having finished battling with the illness, I was like, okay, let me go and do some volunteer work. Let me go back and get back into the groove of things. And I was at this event, and I saw some people, and they was like, they didn't understand. um, I'm like, I'm saying something to you, and I just dropped gold bars in your lap. Now, if you do the right thing, you will prosper with this information. I was talking about their business and going over it because that's what I do. And then that person was like, "Oh, how passionate are you about this? Because about what you do, and would you do it for free?" I'm like, so it just went over that person's head that I did just do it for free. And you had these gold bars in your lap that if you knew how to use this information like you say you know how to use it, you'll be able to build an empire off of what I just told you. And I told you for free. So, and I do that often. And it's I'm not, like I said, I'm not, the type of person that will withhold information from people if they need it, if they're looking for it. And I believe everything happens for a reason. So when people cross my path and they need something, they if it's on me to do it, I do it. I'm not looking for anything in return. But it was disturbing that that person didn't even understand that I just gave you something. And because I didn't make you pay for it, I didn't, emphasize that, oh, now I'm such a great person that now you're going to make sure this is what's going to happen. But if I was on a pulpit, I'm just saying, if I was on a pulpit and I was saying, hey, now he passed that offering basket around. I just told you something. I just told you something. Everybody gonna pass that offering basket around, and now I'm gonna be able to pay off my car note. I'm be able to pay off my house. I'm gonna be able to pay for some things because now you putting the proper value on it. But we don't always have to be in a position where you know that this is the information you're going to receive in order for you to put the proper value on it. And one of the things that uh, we teach our children is when you go to school, that's when you're going to get the information that you're going to be able to value. When you go to work, that's where you get the information you're going to be able to value. And only thing that you're going to value is the information that's coming from the supervisor or the manager or whatever. But they don't condition the children or the workers to understand their worth and their value and what the information is that they're giving, because it's a reciprocity thing. It's a back and forth. It's like I'm telling you and you telling me, and we both growing and learning from this experience. And it's like we need to do that. We need to inform our loved ones like you're worth something. The things that you say is worth something, is valuable. When you go to a job, they're not just paying you if like you're at like what is it, McDonald's, and that McDonald's is on fire. You know what I'm saying? They got customers coming back to back to back. The schools have events going on there, so they always have a high customer base. So there's always a great deal of money coming into that business, and you're like the manager of that place. Whatever intellectual property that you are um, providing to this company, that's invaluable information, and you should be paid and promoted accordingly because that's your intellectual property. So the business is not just paying you for your time; they're paying you for your ability to critically think and make quick decisions and risky decision making skills that you continuously work on and grow and perfect and master. And they're paying you for your intellectual property because you're going to have ideas of how to generate more business, how to make customers happier, what to do in the event that somebody say, what, the frappe machine don't work? Oh, and they throw something and they throw the whole tray and they say, now give me back my money. See, now we haven't really been taught to de-escalate things from being a child to being an adult, because a lot of times, we say, hey, you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back and I'm gonna knock you out, even if it was just a tap. Somebody say, well, I'm in my place of business and you come over here acting unprofessional. Now I have to get just as indignant and ugly as you because I'm not no punk, or because I have to defend, my space. so you don't ever come back here and cause any more problems. So it's like if we were conditioned to see it coming, and somebody will say, well, I saw that this was trending on YouTube, so I had an idea of how to prevent this from happening. And you may think that your job at McDonald's and being a manager of a high volume area, or just period, you may think that it's not a worthwhile venture. It's not something you could grow from financially, or any way that you can grow. And it's just a stepping stone. But again, your intellectual property is invaluable. There's a lot of people who are now millionaires because their intellectual property, because they had an idea, because they saw something that was a problem and they fixed it. They provided an opportunity for it. And it's like, oh, I could do that. Yes, you can do that. You just have to value yourself. So if you're at McDonald's and you're like, well, man, I'm a manager here and I have the authority to exercise and execute these ideas that I have, execute it, and it'll be like a pilot study or pilot test. And once it's efficiently produced or manufactured, then you can bring it up to people with the statistics to say, well, we had this idea, we implemented the idea for 3 months, and the changes that it is produced has been XYZ, and that saved the company XYZ amount of money. And these are the numbers statistically sound, that businesses and things are looking for, not the statistics where they're saying, well, that one time when it didn't work, we're just going to throw that out as the outlier. We're not going to even look at that. We're just going to look at the times that it did work successfully. No, add that in. If it didn't work because of XYZ, that's a growing opportunity for you to say, wow, it didn't grow the idea here, but it failed here. But what it can do in its failure is it can grow into something that we can fix, because this is a loophole, this is a problem, this is a hole in the boat. Let's just fix it, figure out how it occurred, and now we're really ready. So after 3 months of being in a high volume area where a lot of people are coming in and you implemented this new idea, you're going to get more experience in failures and problems that happen with the idea, that you can fix it and you can truncate it so that now this is going to work across the board no matter what. And it's only been 3 months. But if you don't have a high volume of customers, so there's less opportunity to test this idea, then it's going to take a little longer. But never underestimate your intellectual property. Never underestimate the fact that, well, this job doesn't really mean anything. I'm not going to really be here. I'm just doing this for the moment. Because you've seen like strippers at the strip club stripping and working them pose, and they were mastering them pose. They was like, I'm doing this while I'm working through law school. And you looking at them like, what? They're wise. They're doing whatever they have to do and being creative and mastering their art, so that they'll make more money, so that they can get out of the place that's their stepping stone and into the atmosphere that they're trying to work towards. And it has worked for them. Why? Because they saw the way that it didn't work for someone else who had those same ambitions. And they said, well, I see what didn't work for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grow, because I'm going to use what failed for you and didn't work for you. And I'm going to use that, and I'm going to solve that problem. And now I'm going to use it. But I know I might fail. But the next person that's looking at me, let's say it's a younger person, they're looking at me and they're saying, well, man, that didn't work for you, because look where you are. You're still stuck stripping. And they're like, well, man, I'm going to do it. But this time, what I'm going to do is where you failed at was your follow through. You got stuck here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what you learned from the other people who failed, and I'm going to take the fact that you failed, and I'm going to grow, and I'm going to say, I won't get stuck there. And this is how businesses work. This is how corporations work. And this is how people go from a local mom and pop shop to being an international mom and pop shop, and a global mom and pop shop. That's the way Walmart created its wealth. It used to be a little mom and pop shop. I know, right? Say that. That's my mom again. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Please like, subscribe, and share so that somebody who's out there can get this information. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about, you know, how a lot of people um, are losing their memory when they get to a certain age, or if they have a lot of stress on them, or if they just don't have room to grow in the traditional sense, because complex thinking and complex problem solving helps people to maintain their ability to um, remember things and keep their brains young and healthy. So I have a challenge for you. I would like for you to share these videos that I've put out here and have other people to watch the videos. And this is the challenge. Watch the video originally with whatever thoughts come to your mind, whatever perspective come to your mind, and then watch it a second time with a different perspective that second time, and then watch it a third time with yet another perspective as you're watching it, different comments that you make when you're talking to the screen and when you're watching the video. Come with a different perspective. Now, the major challenge here is that third time that you're watching, to have a different perspective every time you watch it, especially a third time. That's creating complex thinking skills, and is growing your ability to have complex thinking skills and problem solving skills, where a lot of times you don't have that, in your environment. That's not something that you have. Hey, let me get to these comments. Hey, Sister Regina, I appreciate you. I really do. You so faithful. I appreciate you. Learning from someone else experience sometimes the best. Yeah, that's the best way to learn, because you didn't have the bumps and bruises that came with that. So, but you did have the ability to grow from it, which is freaking awesome. So don't be afraid of your failures, and don't belittle your failures. It's okay. Just keep growing from it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to get back on track from all of the distractions that we've had over the last couple of weeks. So I appreciate that feedback. So I want you to understand that a lot of people, they don't understand how they can incorporate um, the skills that they need to keep their brain young, to warn off dementia, to warn off Alzheimer's. And it's like, well, how do I do that? I'm trying, but I can't afford um, the various tools that people say go with that. And they don't understand my problem. They don't understand my plight. They don't understand my position. But I'm concerned about my health. I'm concerned about what's going on wrong with me. How do I address it? And no one's really taking the time to tell me anything, because everybody wants money that I don't have. This is the kind of community I serve, because uh, there was a time when I didn't have, and I needed, and I wanted. And if it wasn't for those strangers who came up out of the blue and blessed me, I wouldn't have had. So I'm put it out here. Keep watching these videos, repeat the videos, have an opinion the first time, have a perspective. Come at me, and even though I'm not on there anymore, come at me with, holler at the screen, say whatever you want to say, then watch it again. Holler at the screen and tell me whatever else perspective you have, but make it different from the very first one you had. Have totally different comments, do totally different things, and then a third time, make that your best time, and come with a different perspective. And if you can do that, the three different times you watch the videos, if you can do that, then you are creating complex thinking skills, and you're helping your brain to stay young. So you're going to be able to remember things better. You're going to be able to think clearer. You have to do something, because if you don't, your memory is going to continue to deteriorate. And a lot of times it's deteriorating without your ability to be aware and recognize and do anything to stop it, because, or I should say slow it down, because you can't stop it, especially once it starts. So keep thinking, Keep on thinking. Hey, Jackie, how you doing? Thank you. I am back, and I'm happy to be back. I'm so blessed. You have no idea. God really does love me. He showed me all the time. And I'm going to get back to your story. And I need you and Phil to come on, and we're going to do this. But I didn't want to be on the show with only half a voice. And a lot of times I lose my voice because I'm not big on talking. I'm more of a listener than a talker, and I will lose my voice after 3 hours of actually talking and talking and talking. So I don't do a whole lot of talking. It wears on my voice too much. But um, if you watching this for the second time, talk about how I'm saying I can't talk. And if you watching this for the third time, come at me with, yeah, sometimes I'm starting to notice that my voice wear out too. So however many times you're watching it, come with a different perspective. Try to have a different perspective. And I have a couple of videos out there where you can definitely come at me with some different perspectives at least 3 times. You can do more, and that will definitely help your brain to stay young, stay healthy, and stay fresh. Because once these things happen, there is no reversing it. But there can be a great deal of slowing it down. So if you have a young brain already because you're only about 20, 30 years old, I strongly suggest you practice these skills. Practice complex thinking, problem solving, practice things that are difficult for you to remember and things that are difficult for you to think your way through. A lot of people use puzzles that they put together, but sometimes you need just a little bit more than just a puzzle to put together. Sometimes you need life in order for you to stay captivated in it, for you to stay involved and actively in it. So these videos that I'm doing every week and every Monday and Wednesday or whatever, just watch these things. Is providing critical thought, is providing information that you can use and share, and you can look really awesome and wise by sharing this information. And then by having different perspectives every time you watch, you're going to be on the point that you're not going to have any problems remembering things. And your keys, you're not going to stop. You're not going to lose those anyway. Just stop. You're not going to be it. So, but it doesn't happen overnight. And sometimes the inevitable is just inevitable, but you can warn it off and slow it down just a bit. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's right. If you don't use it, you lose it. But a lot of times people don't tell us how to use it. And a lot of people, they don't believe in formal education. They don't believe in paying all that money and going into debt just so they can learn and get certificates and get degrees and they don't do it like that because they're like, oh, that's a waste of time. I know some people that did it and they're nowhere with their life and they owe all this money back and they don't want to do it. For those who then have a more wrinkles in that nature won't smooth out those wrinkles anytime soon. But we need to keep creating those wrinkles. And this is how you create those wrinkles: by critically thinking, critical problem solving. And what did Eddie say? God bless us with regenerative bodies, but it takes action. It takes a lot of action. But how do we do that? People can say, I told you that that's what you got to do, but you didn't. You didn't explain in the detail that I need that I can actually digest this information and use it. So it's like, did you tell me? Did you tell me? So this is what I'm saying. This is just one technique that you can use with my videos. But think about all the videos and the YouTuber influencers that you watch on outside of this one. Can you do that with them? I don't know, because some people, I could barely tolerate watching it the one time, and even then, I'm on 2x. I'll just double speed through it. I'm just saying, I'm being honest. But some of the YouTubers, like a lot of the YouTubers out here, they're DIYers. I love a lot of the DIYers with the aquariums, because the aquarium hobby is not necessarily a set um, idea. you can be, it's a great deal of room for creativity, and you can be the type of person who can think critically and problem solve and say, well, I'm spending too much money on this aquarium, how can I do something different? And you could come up with different ideas, and those ideas are not necessarily wrong, they're not necessarily right, but they work for you. And that's freaking what is awesome about critical thinking. It's not a set structure, it's what works for you. And that's what makes our brain stay young and active. And that's what creates intellectual property that's invaluable. Teddy Roosevelt was born with asthma and physical issues that made his parents believe he would die early. His father's dying words to him was, "Get action." Wow, that's deep. But again, it's like telling somebody, don't get Alzheimer's, don't get dementia, stay out of trouble, don't be stressed, you know. So in this video, I've addressed those things. Okay, Eddie says the man became president and changed the nature of his country. Get up and get action. Yeah, because you don't know where it's going to lead you. Look at Einstein. They said he was too stupid for school. His mama was like, forget what y'all talking about. Don't be talking about my baby. I got my baby. And what happened? Einstein, he freaking Einstein. He didn't go and get a formal education, but the education he has, everybody wants. Everybody is like, wow, how did you come up with this? How did you think of this? What made you think of this? Critical thinking. A lot of people cannot be taught critical thinking skills, but I just told you how. I just told you how. And that is critical thinking, um, building skills that you can use that will benefit you in the long run. And this kind of information that I'm giving you is invaluable. I This is, it's an African saying, I am because you are. And it's like we always thinking that what can I benefit? I'm gonna hold on to this information because how can this benefit me? Who's gonna pay me the most money in order for me to tell them these things? Look, you can't get money from a dead person. Well, not everybody can. But the point of the matter is, if I build you up today, if I help you all today, I don't know how you're going to benefit me tomorrow or how your presence is going to benefit the world where, yeah, I benefit indirectly because your intellectual property created something out here that's like, man, I'm benefiting from that indirectly because I'm going to eventually use that. For example, there's a lot of barbers out here. They're very intelligent and they're like, well, I don't have a formal education, but I do have barber college. Now that you have that, keep building. Go back and get a formal education because you can afford it now, and continue to build your knowledge and build the things that you want to be intellectually. And it's not just about having the degree, it's about your brain. It's about your brain staying healthy and young and vibrant, because you can be 100, you could be 105, and you can have all of your mental faculties about you if you are doing exactly what I've told you in this video. So make sure you watch the rewind, repeat, follow the challenge, and see how much that's helping you after 30 days. Go through all the videos, see how much that has helped your brain in 30 days. I'm not saying that I guarantee it because you're not paying me, so I'm not going to tell you that. But I'm just saying, do this, see how it benefits you, and I am certain that it's going to help improve your ability to remember things and make critical decisions really fast, make your brain just keep on working. And I'm going to leave them comments on there so you guys can see it. Yeah, there's a great deal of examples out there who have done these things. And if you know an older person who is like about 100 years old, and you ask them, "Wow, you seem like really intelligent. You seem to have, a lot of ability to hold a conversation." Um, and it's like, wow, how did you do that? What are you eating? What are you doing? And it's not necessarily what they're eating or what they're doing. It's the matter of the fact that they are exercising their ability to critically think and problem solve and it's not like they're following orders, they're not following directions, they don't have a manual with that they're reading, and they're thinking instead of being told what to do. I'll start with the history lesson. Eddie has a history lesson show that he does on Thursdays. So if you are very intrigued by his comments, definitely tune in on Thursdays on the Erudition Network so you can see what's being said. And again, shows like Eddie's where he's providing information that's not necessarily um, broadly broadcast, or it's not necessarily within reach of those people who cannot afford to pay for to be as intellectually advanced. I'm working hard on these word choices. I'm just saying. Uh, it would be cool if you were to exercise that challenge that I showed you just then, and watch it and say, okay, the first time I had this perspective, the second time I'm gonna have this perspective. If you can't remember what the perspective was that you had for a whole hour, then you write it down and you keep working on it and say, wait a minute, I said that an hour ago. Let me try again. Let me try again. And you write it down, the perspective that you had, and then you look at it and say, I did it. I came the second time I watched it and I had a different perspective the entire hour. Do that and keep track of it so that you can track your own health of your brain. And these are current events, these are things that are happening, and you can stay active and up to date and involved, and you're tracking yourself. And with that, you'll see improvements, or you should see improvements. And if you want more information, definitely inbox me, hit me up in these comments. We'll go over it. If in 30 days you've watched these videos and you've done a 3 watch challenge, and you say, well, I didn't really track that I've made any changes, come at me in these comments. We'll see what's going on, how we can improve to help you get a little bit better with it. But I'm pretty sure this is definitely going to, help a lot of people improve. And if you've experienced this, then you understand what I'm saying. If you've, like, example, I love Mars Attacks. I love it. Oh, I love the movie Mars Attacks. And it's like, when I don't like to watch movies more than once because I've seen it. It's like, I've seen it. I'm not the type that I'm going to be sitting there watching a movie or something until I can recite every word they said like they paying me to be in the movie. I'm not doing that. But what I do is I love watching it, and every now and again, if I see it come on, I'll watch it. Normally, I'll just be like, I seen it. Let me change something, do something else with my time, and I'll watch it. It has different perspectives on it. When knowledge is needed, Eddie says, when knowledge is needed, a teacher will emerge. We simply must make ourselves available to knowledge. That's a good point. That's a good point. So I watched Mars Attacks, and it's like sometimes you'll see it and you'll say, man, look at how dumb the world is, that they will see these aliens and think that even though they shooting you, they mean you any good. They don't mean you any good, but every time they keep trusting them and they go yak yak and they're shooting them with the guns and they're running around. It's just hilarious. But I see a different thing. I see some of the hilarity of it. I see some of the political problems with it that we always doing, and all the fallacies we tell one another in politics and in business, where you feel like you're obligated to do these particular things. And it's hilarious in that set because it's like Mars Attacks puts it on such a level that it's like, wow, you can sit back and laugh at yourself because you're like, man, did I think that way? Did I fall into that category? Would I have felt into that category if that was me there? What category would I have fallen into had I not known? And it's like, it's funny because it's not me, it's not my problem. And it is kind of funny. And of course, people win, humans win, and over the aliens, and everything gets back to normal and everything's okay for whoever made it, I guess. But still, casualties. And it's like, can you avoid being a casualty? I don't know. So having exercise critical thinking skills, it will definitely help you again with making decisions and saying, I won't be a statistic. I won't be a casualty. I won't be a burden to people. I'll be more of an asset because now I have this and I have this different perspective of things. I have this way of trying to de-escalate things that's a little bit more effective because I came at that situation with a different perspective because I'm accustomed to doing that with these shows that I've been watching on the Erudition Network and the suggestion that was made. Now I've built myself up to the point where now I'm doing so much better in other areas. I didn't even see that coming. So take the advice, use it, hit in them comments what helped you so everybody can know how people are growing and learning. I love positive testimonies. I love it even when you don't have a positive testimony. So if you're asking for help, I love that too. But I definitely love the positive testimonies that I hear and the things people hit me in my inbox and say. But it would be so cool if you could put them in the comments over in, yeah, just make the comments here. And again, I appreciate your time. And remember, that's all the time I have for today. So remember the challenge. Remember the challenge. Rewind, repeat, share. Okay. Thank you all for coming today. I want you to remember mental health is physical wealth. And if you don't know how that is, go back and watch those episodes and definitely rewind and watch this one and get that 30-day challenge in and see how it benefits you. And then you'll understand when I say mental health is physical wealth. All right. I'll see you guys on the next episode.